My friends, there comes a time in every person's life when the noise gets loud, the world gets busy, and the voices of others start to drown out the voice that matters most, the voice within. You were not born to chase applause. You were not created to entertain every critic, to respond to every insult, to explain every move. You were born for something greater. But to walk in that purpose, you must learn this simple truth. Focus on yourself and stay silent. There is a power that comes in silence, not the silence of fear or passivity, but the silence of a soul that knows where it's going, the silence of a heart anchored in something eternal. You don't have to prove yourself to the crowd. You don't need to explain your process to people who never saw your pain. Grow in the shadows, build in the quiet, pray in the secret place. And when the time is right, when the season is full, you will bloom and no one will be able to deny it. You see, focusing on yourself is not selfish. It's spiritual, because when you truly focus on yourself, you begin to heal. You begin to rise. You begin to see clearly the path that was designed just. But when you're always looking outward at what they're doing, what they're saying, who's ahead, who's watching, you start to forget who you are. Let the world chase noise. Let them compete for attention. You stay steady, you stay grounded, you stay silent and strong. Because your strength is not in your words, it's in your walk. Your results speak, your discipline will shine, your peace will preach. So focus on your soul, tend to your inner life, speak less, grow more, and let your silence be a symphony of purpose. There comes a moment in every journey when a person must look in the mirror and ask not what the world is doing wrong, not what others fail to give, not how the winds have blown against them, but rather ask what is growing within me. What am I becoming? What am I becoming? What am I feeding? Because the truth is that no real change begins until it begins inside, and no breakthrough ever comes until the soul decides to dig deep and find what's buried beneath the surface of distraction, pain, and past disappointments that try to define us, but were never meant to be our name. You see, there is a great deception in believing that growth comes from what's around us, that better circumstances make a better person, that once the job comes or the relationship heals or the recognition arrives, then finally we will be whole. But oh, what a lie that is. Because wholeness is not a reward from the outside. It is a decision burst in the quiet corners of the heart when no one is clapping, when the light is dim, when the only sound is the whisper of God telling you that it's time to rise, time to grow, time to let go of the shallow and step into the deep. And the deep is where the growth lives, not in the noise of the crowd, not in the highlight reels, not in the applause of men, but in the place where you wrestle with your doubt and pray through your pain and stand still long enough to hear what your soul has been trying to say, that the person you were yesterday has expired, and the person you are becoming is waiting for you to break the shell, to stretch, to reach, to rise, even when no one else believes in it but you and God alone. It's in the growing seasons that no one sees, those long nights of discipline, those early mornings of prayer, those hours of reading, working, sweating, crying, forgiving, failing, trying again, forgiving again, falling again, still getting back up again. That something begins to form in you that no storm can shake, no hater can destroy, no delay can diminish. Because what's been born in the secret place has its roots not in popularity, but in purpose, not in noise, but in knowing, not in pride, but in power. And when you grow, truly grow, you stop needing validation. You stop chasing people who left. You stop begging the world to see your worth because you have found it already in the fire, in the furnace of becoming, in the lonely path that forges character when everyone else is choosing company. And you realize that real elevation is not about being above others. It's about being above your old self. It's about winning battles no one even knows you were fighting, and overcoming things that tried to keep you from ever knowing the greatness God planted in. And the world may not clap for your growth at first. It may not notice the new peace in your voice or the strength in your silence. But in time, the fruit will show, the light will shine, and they will see that something different lives in you now, not because you shouted about it, but because you lived it, walked it, breathed it, and you didn't stop growing when it got hard. You didn't stop reaching when it got quiet. You didn't stop believing when it got lonely. And that is the mark of someone who's not just passing through life, but transforming in it. So don't chase the spotlight, chase the inner light, that fire that refuses to go out, that vision that won't let you quit, that call that keeps whispering your name in the dark, telling you to keep growing, to keep stretching, to keep surrendering. Because what you are becoming is bigger than what you've been through, and the version of you that the world needs most is the one that is willing to go deep, go slow, go steady, and grow even when it hurts. And if no one tells you today, let this truth settle in your spirit. You are allowed to grow quietly, to heal privately, to evolve in silence, because one day, without a word, your life will speak volumes. Your roots will hold strong. Your fruit will nourish others. And your growth will not need an introduction, because real power, real growth never has to shout. There is a kind of strength that doesn't roar, doesn't demand attention, doesn't pound its chest or fill a room with noise, but rather it sits, it waits, it listens. And though the world might call it weakness, though the crowd may overlook it, there is power, deep, holy, unshakable power in the silence of a soul that knows its worth, in the quiet of a spirit that does not need to prove itself, because silence is not the absence of voice, it is the presence of wisdom. And in a time where everyone wants to be heard, where everyone wants to speak their truth, shout their story, defend their name, the strongest ones are often the quietest, the ones who know that their energy is sacred, that not every battle deserves a response. That sometimes the greatest victory is choosing peace over pride, calm over chaos, stillness over shouting, because silence is not submission, it is strategy. It is in silence that you hear the truth beneath the noise. It is in silence that clarity begins to rise like the morning sun. It is in silence that you find God speaking when the world stops screaming, when your thoughts stop racing, and there you are, fully present, fully aware, fully grounded in a strength that is not shaken by opinions or timelines or the pressure to perform. You learn that you don't have to respond to every insult, that your silence can confuse the enemy, that while others burn themselves out trying to be seen, you are being built brick by brick in the unseen, molded by patience, sharpened by restraint, strengthened not by loud declarations, but by deep convictions that do not waver when challenged, because real power is not loud. Real power is rooted. And when they wonder why you're not reacting, when they question your silence, when they try to provoke the old version of you, they won't understand that silence is your shield now. Because you've learned that you're not here to entertain drama. You're here to protect your peace. And anything that threatens that peace no longer gets a reply, no longer gets your time, no longer gets access to your spirit. You begin to walk differently when you realize that the loudest one in the room is often the weakest, and the strongest ones are watching, praying, discerning, moving with purpose, unmoved by pressure, because silence gives space for divine guidance, for heaven to whisper direction into your soul without distraction, for your inner compass to align with truth, and in that space you become dangerous, not because you're loud, but because you're lead. And the people who truly know themselves don't chase crowds. They don't argue online. They don't beg to be heard. They just live, they move, they do what needs to be done, and they let their life speak for them, because they know that silence carries a weight, a gravity, a presence that noise can never imitate. And when you walk in that presence, you don't have to announce who you are. People feel it when you enter the room. So if they misunderstand you, let them. If they mock your quiet, let them. If they question your calm, let them, because the real ones know, the wise ones see, the spiritual ones recognize that silence is not your absence. It is your authority, it is your discernment, it is your divine discipline. And in a world addicted to attention, you are choosing alignment. And that, my friend, is a strength that can't be shaken. In a world where every second is filled with noise, where every direction calls for your attention, where screens and voices and opinions and desires beckon you in 1,000 different ways, there is a quiet strength found in learning to avoid distractions, in learning to guard your focused treasure, because what is given your attention is what shapes your destiny. And the ability to stay still in the midst of chaos is not weakness. It is mastery. It is discipline. It is a soul that understands its purpose and will not be moved by every passing breeze. The distractions of this world are not always loud. Sometimes they are subtle, like the pull of a passing thought, the invitation of an idle conversation, the lure of an endless scroll, the invitation to worry about things you cannot control. And yet the person who chooses to stay focused, to choose what deserves their energy, to refuse to chase every fleeting moment, will find a peace that the world cannot understand. Because real power is not in multitasking, it is in choosing what matters and letting the rest fade into the background. It is easy to be swept away by the tide of constant notifications, urgent demands, and the distractions of external forces, but the wise know that they must tune out the noise in order to tune into the voice that calls them higher, the voice that tells them you are made for more, the voice that calls them to focus on what they can control, what they can build, what they can plant in the soil of today, so that it will bear fruit tomorrow. And when they listen to that voice, all other voices become distant echoes. And the distractions aren't always bad. They aren't always temptations or dangers. Sometimes the distractions are just the noise of life, the well-meaning invitations, the constant demands for your time, the false sense of urgency and the desire to be everywhere, do everything, help everyone. Truth is, when you say yes to everything, you say no to what matters most, and the path to greatness is paved with deliberate focus, with knowing where your energy must go and where it must not. It is in the moments of quiet that the most important decisions are made, the ones that shape your life and future, the ones that build your character and integrity, and the ones that set the course for what you will accomplish. Because when you refuse to be distracted, when you refuse to be led astray by every pull and every pressure, you choose to live intentionally, to live with purpose, and to move forward one step at a time, not scattered in 1,000 different directions. The world will continue to pull at you. It will continue to offer you distractions disguised as opportunities, but only the disciplined heart understands that not every opportunity is for them, not every path is their path, and not every invitation is one they must accept, because they are not to please everyone. They are here to fulfill their calling, and they have learned that in order to fulfill that calling, they must first guard their time, their thoughts, and their peace like the treasures they are. And so as the world continues its relentless march forward, as the noise gets louder and the distractions get bigger, the strong will remain unmoved because they have learned the art of saying no, the wisdom of turning off the noise, the power of staying in their lane. And as they focus on the work before them, they grow in strength, they grow in purpose, and they grow in wisdom because they are not distracted by what is fleeting. They are only focused on what is eternal. So let the world spin its web of distractions. Let the news cycle whirl with fear. Let the social media feeds fill with noise. But the person who has learned to avoid distractions is not chasing after what is temporary. They are building what is eternal, and with each day of undistracted focus, they are becoming more and more the person they were always meant to be, and nothing at all will stop them from walking that path with purpose, strength, and peace. In a world that constantly demands your time, your attention, your emotions, your thoughts, and your spirit, there comes a moment when you realize that your energy is not infinite, that your soul is not a reservoir to be drained by every person, every task, every obligation that comes knocking. And that if you do not consciously choose where to invest your energy, you will find yourself empty, depleted, lost, and burned out. Because the truth is, not everything and not everyone deserves access to your energy. And the wise are the ones who know this deeply and live by it. There is a sacredness to your energy, a divine power that flows within you. And when you guard it, when you protect it, when you choose to invest it in things that align with your purpose, your peace, your vision, and your heart, you become unstoppable. Because what you pour into will either nourish you or drain you, and the strength to guard that which nourishes you is what gives you the power to rise above every distraction, every discouragement, every pull from the outside world that tries to take you off course. You see, guarding your energy doesn't mean building walls to keep people out. It means knowing what to let in and what to keep at bay. Because not every conversation is worth your time. Not every argument is worth your peace. Not every invitation is worth your presence. And when you begin to understand that, you start to say no, not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. Because you know that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And if you are not careful with where your energy goes, it will be spent on things that do not serve you, do not build you, and do not push you forward into the life you are meant to live. And so guarding your energy means being intentional about where you invest your time and who you surround yourself with, because not everyone who asks for your energy is equipped to handle it. And not everyone who demands your presence deserves the privilege of sharing space with your spirit. And when you start to recognize this, you will find that your life begins to change. Because you are no longer giving your best to things that are draining you. You are no longer pouring into situations that take without giving back, and you are no longer carrying burdens that are not yours to bear. It is a choice, a powerful decision to guard your energy, one that requires discipline, self-awareness, and sometimes a painful cutting off of relationships, routines, or environments that are not serving your highest good. Because when you protect your energy, you protect your peace, your purpose, and your power. And there is nothing more sacred than your inner peace, nothing more valuable than your energy. Because when you have it, you're able to give your best to the things that truly matter. Your growth, your mission, your relationships with those who lift you higher, and your relationship with God who refills your soul when it feels depleted. And as you begin to guard your energy with wisdom, You will find that there are fewer distractions, fewer people who drain you, fewer situations that knock you off course, because you have learned the art of protecting your peace, the power of setting boundaries, and the strength of choosing what deserves your time and attention. And in that space, your clarity grows. Your purpose becomes more defined and your strength becomes more rooted, because you are no longer living reactively to the demands of others, but proactively in alignment with what you were created for. And this, my friend, is the secret to living a life of fulfillment, not in giving every ounce of your energy to every cause, not in pleasing every person or answering every call, but in choosing wisely where to invest your time, your attention, and your heart. Because when you guard your energy, you not only protect yourself, but you also empower the people around you to rise with you, to learn from you, to grow with you, and to walk alongside you in a life that is led by purpose, not by external pressures. And when you begin to live in this truth, you find a peace and strength that cannot be shaken. So guard your energy as the sacred gift it is. Protect your peace as if it were your most valuable possession. And remember that your energy is not for everyone, not for everything, and not for anything that doesn't honor who you are becoming, and what you're called to do in this world. Because when you begin to guard your energy with the wisdom of the divine, you are guarding the very power that will lead you to the life you were meant to live, and nothing, no one, and no distraction can take that away. There comes a time in every journey when you realize that the noise of the world is nothing more than a distraction, that the only thing that truly matters, the only thing that will stand the test of time. Because no amount of talking, no amount of explaining, no amount of defending will ever compare to the power of results. And when you truly understand this, you stop trying to convince others of your worth. You stop seeking approval from the outside. And you focus solely on what you can build, what you can create, what you can achieve through the quiet discipline of consistent action. You see, the world loves to measure success in words and status and titles and appearances, but the wise know that true success isn't spoken. It's lived, it's shown in the fruit you bear, it's proven in the work you do. And while others may speak of their dreams and their plans, those who know the power of letting results speak choose not to chase validation, not to waste time convincing anyone of what they are doing or who they are becoming, because they know that the right results will always make their way to the surface, and no one will be able to deny the truth of the impact they've made. And so while others may be busy explaining their intentions, their motivations, their every step, you will be busy doing the work, planting the seeds, staying the course. And as you remain faithful in the process, as you continue to show up when no one is watching, as you push through the pain and press forward in silence, you will begin to see the results of your labor, results that speak louder than any words ever could. And those results will not need to be explained. They will not need to be justified, because they will be the living proof of your dedication, your sacrifice, and your unwavering commitment. The beauty of letting results speak is that they require no defense, no explanation, no apology. And when your work stands for itself, when your progress is undeniable, when the impact you've made is evident in the lives of others, you no longer need to prove anything, because the world will see your fruit. They will see the path you've walked, and they will understand that success is not a matter of what you say, it's a matter of what you do. And your results will be the testimony of the path you've chosen to follow. And nothing can take that away from you. And there will always be those who question your methods, those who criticize your approach, those who doubt your ability or even your intentions. But when you let your results speak, those voices become irrelevant, because their opinions cannot change the truth of what you've built. And in time, the noise will quiet, and the only thing that will remain is the undeniable evidence of your work, your consistency, your heart, and your results, which will stand as a testament to your perseverance and faithfulness. And no one can argue with the truth of what's been accomplished. Let results be your defense. Let them speak for you when others try to tear you down. Let them speak when others doubt your journey, your vision, your purpose, because the power of your results will stand firm when words falter. And in the end, it will be your actions that lead to the heights of success, not your explanations, not your justifications, but the strength and integrity with which you pursued your dreams, the work you put in, the battles you fought, the challenges you. And the best part of letting results speak is that they never lie, they never change based on what's popular, based on what's trending, or based on what someone else thinks. They are the unshakable foundation of your life's purpose, the true measure of your success. And as you focus less on proving yourself and more on living out your purpose, your results will unfold in ways that you could never have predicted. Surpassing all expectations and reaching further than you ever dreamed. And in the end, those results will be the living proof of your strength, your vision, your journey. So, my friend, let your results be louder than your words, stronger than your doubts, and more powerful than any challenge. Because when you live with the quiet confidence that your actions will speak for you, you unlock a power that cannot be stopped, a force that cannot be ignored, and a legacy that will endure long after the noise has faded away. There comes a point in every journey when you realize that no matter how much you talk about what you're going to do, no matter how many plans you make or goals you declare, it is the results, the quiet proof of your efforts, that truly matter. Because the world doesn't respond to promises or intentions, it responds to outcomes. And while everyone can speak of their dreams, only those who put in the work, who stay committed, who sacrifice in silence and follow through consistently will see results that are undeniable and speak for themselves. And it is those results that will ultimately define you, not the words you use, not the promises you make, but the tangible evidence of what you've accomplished and who you've become along the way. And as the noise of the world surrounds you, people talking, opinions flying, distractions pulling you in every direction, it is easy to get caught up in defending your dreams, explaining your actions, or justifying why you haven't yet achieved what you said you would. But the truth is, all that matters is what you do, not what you say. And in those moments of doubt, when you feel the pressure to prove yourself to others, you can take solace in knowing that the best response to any skeptic, any doubter, any critic is simply to keep going, to stay focused, to continue building and growing, because results never need an explanation. They speak loudly enough. It is in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when you are working in the shadows, that the foundation for your results is laid. And while the world may not see your struggle, your sacrifice, or the grind that goes unnoticed, it will see the outcome. And it will understand the weight of what you've carried in silence, because real results, those that change lives, those leave an impact, those that leave a legacy, are built in the quiet and steady work and the unwavering commitment to progress. And when those results finally manifest, they will demand attention. They will stand as proof of your dedication, your perseverance, and your vision. And so you must not worry about the applause or the recognition along the way, because the truth is recognition is fleeting and applause is temporary, but the results you achieve, the legacy you build, the lives you touch, they are eternal, and in the end, the work you do will be your testimony. Your response to anyone who doubted, to anyone who questioned your path, to anyone who tried to distract you from your course, and when the results speak for themselves, they carry a power that no amount of words could ever match. And that power, that impact, will echo through the lives of those who have witnessed your journey and the work you've. You see, the beauty of letting results speak is that they don't need any defense. They don't need to be justified or explained. Because when your results speak, they are a reflection of your actions, your consistency, and your character. And those who truly understand the value of results recognize the effort it took to achieve them. They will see the sacrifices you made, the obstacles you overcame, the moments you chose persistence over convenience. And in the end, no one will remember the noise or the debates. They will only remember the impact you made, the lives you changed, and the difference you brought to the world through your results. And as you continue on this journey, remember that success is not about making the loudest noise or having the most followers. It's about showing up day after day, doing the work, improving yourself, refining your craft, and letting the results you create be the loudest testimony of your abilities and your character. Because people may doubt you, they may question your methods, they may not understand the sacrifices you make, but when your results begin to shine, when they start to speak for themselves, all the doubts and criticisms will fade away, and the undeniable truth will be in the work you've done and the legacy you've built. So let your results speak louder than any words could. Let your actions carry more weight than any argument could. And let the life you live, the impact you make, and the work you accomplish be the answer to every question. Your results will tell your story better than you ever could. And it is through those results that you will find your true voice, your true purpose, and your true power. And when you trust in the process, when you believe in the journey, and when you let your results speak, You will discover that success doesn't come from proving others wrong, but from proving to yourself that you are capable of achieving everything you set your mind to. In a world that constantly pressures us to move faster, to be seen, to be recognized, to chase the approval of others, there comes a quiet wisdom in learning to trust the divine timing of your life. Because while the world tells you that you must have everything figured out, that success must be instantaneous, and that validation from the outside world is what determines your worth. There is a deeper truth, a truth that says the right things will come at the right time, and that you don't need the applause or acknowledgement of others to know that your journey is unfolding just as it should, because divine timing is always perfect, even when we don't understand it. And so we live in a culture that is obsessed with instant gratification, that celebrates quick success and overnight fame. But there is a strength in waiting, a strength in trusting that what is meant for you will not pass you by, no matter how much time it takes. No matter how many people around you seem to be ahead, because what is for you will come when you are ready, when the pieces have fallen into place, and when your heart and spirit are aligned with the path you are meant to walk. And in those moments of waiting, you are being shaped, refined, and prepared for the greatness that is yet to come. The truth is, public validation is fleeting. It is based on the opinions of others, the trends of the moment, and the whims of the crowd. But divine timing, when trusted, has a far greater power. It is rooted in something eternal, something unshakable, something far beyond the noise of the world. And when you learn to trust that the universe or God or whatever you believe in is orchestrating your path, you begin to understand that what is meant to be yours will come at the perfect moment, and it won't be a moment that requires external applause, but a moment that will resonate deep within your soul. And while the world may look at you with impatience, while people may question why you haven't achieved this or that yet, how they wonder why your plans haven't materialized in the way they expect, you can stand firm in the truth that divine timing is greater than public validation. That your worth is not determined by when the world thinks you should have achieved something, but by the quiet assurance that what is yours will unfold exactly when it is meant to. And in that quiet, there is peace. There is freedom from comparison, freedom from the pressure to meet someone else's expectations, and freedom to move at your own pace with confidence. And you will face moments of doubt, moments when it feels like everyone else is moving ahead, moments when you wonder if you're on the right path. But it is in those moments of uncertainty that you must hold fast to the belief that divine timing is always at work, even when you can't see it, even when the results aren't visible yet, even when you feel overlooked or forgotten, because the truth is, while the world might ignore you now, your time is coming. And when it does, it will be undeniable. And you won't need the approval of anyone to know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. In fact, the beauty of divine timing is that it removes the need for validation from others. It teaches you to validate yourself, to trust in the process, to know that the universe is unfolding in your favor, and that when your moment arrives, it will be at the right time with the right people and in the right circumstances. And while the world may not have seen your journey or recognized your struggle, you will know that everything you've endured, every moment you've waited, every step you've taken in faith has led you to this place, and it is here that your true purpose will shine. And when you begin to understand that divine timing always aligns with your highest good, you will stop chasing after approval. You will stop living for the next like, the next comment, the next fleeting recognition, and you will start living for yourself, for your own peace, for the deep knowing that you are being guided towards exactly what you need when you need it, and when you are no longer dependent on public validation, you are free to walk your path with grace and confidence, knowing that you are already whole, already worthy, and that everything that is meant for you will find its way to you in due time. So trust the process, trust the timing of your life, and let go of the need for external validation, because divine timing is always greater than public approval. And when you align with it, when you let go of the pressure to rush, when you stop comparing your journey to others, you will find a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that comes from knowing that your life is unfolding exactly as it was meant to, and that in the end, it is not the world's applause that matters. It is the quiet knowing that you have trusted the divine timing of your own story.